Mr. Toscano, good to see you again. I do not remember. How long ago was this?
Probably about 6, 7 years ago. It's been a while.
So it's pre-COVID.
Yeah, that's
I,
when people.
I have to apologize. I just got over cancer and went into remission in December. I had 3.5 years of a chemo called Rituxan, and at the same time I was taking a Vimpat. That was a drug that it repaths the neurological pathways in my brain and stuff. And I lost some memories.
Oh,
They can't be that important if I lost them, but
that's true. And
but
listen, I'm the least important person you'll ever
well,
meet.
no. You'd be surprised you're surprised what I retained, like the taste of certain blackberry jubes or something.
Well,
No,
it's certainly good to catch up with you and have this little chat. I mean, there's so much to talk about, but let's talk about Confession first. It's
absolutely.
a hell of a film.
When you think that we shot it almost 3 years ago,
Yeah.
and that's Dana Hansen. You got to talk about Dana Hansen, the director, on this when you deal with this. Wonderful, gentle-handed, understanding female director, but who's a woman who and Sarah brought the project to her. I think, as far as I know, the genesis of this. Sarah Hay brought it to Dana. When it was sent to me, I read it and I thought, look, I do a lot of very large budget films. I do these huge budget films where I go out and get either. In the old days, I used to be the guy that killed everybody. Now I'm usually the sheriff that gets killed second in the film. But and they're very large budget films and stuff, so I can say it affects my ability to affect distribution, which allows me to do films like this and get behind stuff that I like. And I don't do a lot of press. I really don't like press. I don't like stoking the financial machinery around entertainment and stuff. But this project, I really believe in. I really, it's important. Do you have kids?
I do. In fact, I have grandkids, and
Then I've got 2 daughters, and I've been telling this today. I've told it a couple of times that when our youngest was 14, I thought I should have the conversation with her about dating.
Yeah.
And we sitting at the kitchen table, and she, in the middle of it, was very patient with me. She said, "Dad, what did they teach you in sex class, in like health class, when you were in high school?" I said, "How to, wear protective contraception and not to get sexually transmitted disease, not get girls pregnant and stuff like that." And she goes, yeah, it's pretty much the same now. I said, okay. And she says, "You know what I'm taught?" And I said, "What?" She said, "I'm taught how not to get raped." And I went, "What?" She says, "Dad, it's been going on for years and years and years. Women are taught how to wear their hair down and not in a ponytail. If you're going to be out at night in formal clothing or formal shoes, high heels, wear a pair of flat shoes with you so you can run in them if you're going to be by yourself. Stay away from dark parking lots, dark alleys. Stay in well-lit areas, I mean, the fact that my daughter was at the age where she had to go around and prioritize people when she was on her own and stuff, how to hold on to her drink in public, don't leave it anywhere, and if you do, get another one, that sort of thing. And it kind of, there's literally, I've been saying, like, the scales started falling from my eyes. So when this subject matter came up, and I thought, look, we're not bully pulpiting, hammering this subject. It's an entertaining murder mystery, some other stuff. There's a lot of duality going on in the story, very well coached and written. And but underneath it, it's hopefully a champion for people that have not considered the subject matter before, male and female, but mostly male. I have an acquaintance of mine got raped a few years back, and talking with her and stuff, she said she called the police and went to the emergency ward. And while she was there, she got a female doctor who asked her what she was wearing, what she had she been drinking, was she under any influences, and why she was there alone. I mean, she vilified the victim. So it's not just men; it's society in general. I think has to look at the idea that date rape, you know, uh,
Yeah,
it just frustrates me that we have to address this in this way, And I think we did a pretty good job.
I
Dana
think so
did a
too.
phenomenal job in this film, you
Yeah,
know.
you have a wonderful cast of incredible actors supporting all of this, and it's it's a wonderful. How can I put it? It's explained in such a way that it's undeniable. I mean,
Well,
it's
also, and the character
brilliant script.
absolutely, and the character I play is somebody who is that kind of inflexible, excuse me, inflexible kind of detective who's at the end of his career. Excuse me. Hold
Sure.
on. I just finished 3.5 years of chemo
Mm.
for cancer, and one of the offshoots is I've still got a dry throat. But I play a character who's very inflexible, who has this case that what I see is a politically motivated, aggressive assistant DA that's played by Clark Backel, who wants to reopen and maybe investigate it. And I'm thinking, why are we doing this? It's like it's on the shelf. It was looked into. So I play this lockdown character who, through the arc of the film, becomes a champion for the cause and realizes mea culpa that he had seen it with a set of blinders on. And that's the audience I thought when I looked at it. This is the character that's the audience we're trying to reach.
Yeah.
We're not trying to build. We want people to understand. We want, like that female doctor in that emergency ward who was dealing with my friend, who said, "Were you drinking? What were you wearing? What did you expect?" You know what I mean? And that's that. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. When I read it, I thought, this has got to be done. This has got to be done.
Well, and you look at it also with the eyes of a scriptwriter as well, because
Yes, I did. Yes.
But again, what a masterful movie. We only got a few minutes left, and I did want to tell you that Scanners was the first movie I ever bought on
That's
VHS.
1979, 80 is when we shot it. I think it came out in 81.
81, yeah.
Yeah, that's 42 years ago.
And you and I have originally met on the junket for Starship Troopers.
Oh, really? Were you at the hotel in Los Angeles?
Yep. Was it the Four
Were
Seasons?
you with me when I was with Jake Busey?
Jake, yeah.
I remember Jake, and I said, before we went in for those press, I said to Jake, if you lie or stretch the truth, I'll call you out on in front of the press.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, if you try and make this where you're the star of this goddamn film, I'll bust your balls and leave your dick on the table. And he, and he was like, begrudgingly goes in, and that was interesting. That Paul Verhoeven's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah.
And,
Mine
and
too.
I've worked with about 300 of them, but Paul's definitely in charge of the ship when he's telling a story.
Michael, I want to talk to you for several hours, but we can't. You're an incredible actor and one of my favorite guys, and I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much. Thanks for putting on a jacket for this.
Well, listen, I'm not wearing pants, but the jacket is on.
Yeah, either am I.
Tony, if you want to keep going a little bit longer, we have a little extra time if you'd like
sure.
to keep chatting.
Do you mind?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and of course your stint in Top Gun and Total Recall again. Arnold Schwarzenegger is one of the greatest.
Free Willy.
Yeah.
God, there's so many over the years. It's interesting. I've been telling everybody. I go off and do these big ticket movies and stuff like that, so I can affect distribution. So my name, I'm what I refer to it. It's not a term the industry does, but I use my name I call myself a garnish name.
Yeah.
So that you get a project where there's one actor with it that has some bankability. He's like the steak, or she's like the ham, or the main course, and I'm like the asparagus and the mashed potatoes. I'm the garnish.
You're the parsley,
so that they can see the complete meal. They know how to eat it or sell it when they go, oh, I don't know how to sell just a steak, but it's got potatoes and it's asparagus with it. Oh, I can sell that. So that's the way I see myself, and it's allowed me over the years to do these large ticket films where I'm allowed to affect distribution, so I can go off and do projects like Confession, where I can I can affect distribution on a project like this and end up doing press like this. I don't do a lot of press.
Yeah, I know.
As you know. And
why I jumped at this.
well, it's basically, I don't want to be responsible for the commercialization of some of the stuff we do, and the characters I played over the years, a lot of them are despicable human beings, and I'm not responsible for how they're presented. I can only be, my responsibility ends when I agree to do the character.
Yeah.
And I've turned a lot down because they're not organically correct.
Yeah.
I try, and whenever I've played a heavy, these are people who their way of doing things doesn't work.
I also want to bring up Chain Dance. It's
yeah, that was,
oh my God, what a brilliant performance.
Thank you very much. Co-wrote that, produced it. Richard Davis, my friend, who's now passed, I found out he's an Australian good friend of mine, who finally gave the film industry up and went and got a kayak and went back to Australia and sent me a picture where he was like sitting there patting crocodiles on the head or alligators while he was kayaking. And I went, this son of a bitch is going to end up lunch for some one of these things. But no, Chain Dance was an interesting, if you got a moment, it's an interesting story. We basically had that mapped out. We were going to shoot it with 40 days. We had a lot of money for it. I'm under NDA. An NDA. Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk about this, but I can talk in general form. One of the first distributors in who gave us money, and we patterned it, our financing around that. At the end, tried to control the casting and tried to stunt cast us with a couple of people in it. And I said no. And then they said, well, we'll pull our financing. And I went, wow, could you? And this was a week before we went to camera. So we had to, so I told them to stick it up their ass, and because it's too, and we had to cut the script from being a 40-day shoot down to being a 31-day shoot. And with that, the size of the script came down. And I don't think the subject matter really got the full extent. The scenes I'm proud of are me and Brad in the bathroom.
Yeah. And
when I'm putting them on the toilet, because they come directly from my life. Yeah. When my grandfather had his legs chopped off, and I had to bathe him and put him on the toilet. And I remember one day I was so proud. I got my grandfather and I put him on the toilet. And I was standing there. I was like, and he went, "You're feeling pretty proud about yourself, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Do you mind pulling my underwear down?" It was like I put him on the toilet with his underwear. And the other time I was helping bathe him, and he was in the bathtub, and he had to hold himself up. And I was reading some poetry or something that I'd written and editing it while he was in the bathtub, and he slipped under the water. And I had to pull him back up, and he said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you." And I went, "Okay." His name was Finley, Finley Ironside, Jock Ironside. So those scenes resonate for me in that piece. There's a couple of sequences in that film that I'm quite proud of. Tony, it's good seeing you again.
Good seeing you too, sir.
I'll see you down the road. Let's do this again sometime.